Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. West Ham play Dutch side AZ Alkmaar in the Europa Conference League Semi-Final first leg at the London Stadium this Thursday, and here's our match preview. So I'm joined by James Rowe. He's a journalist based in the Netherlands, and we'll talk about Alkmaar's season so far, their recent form, their style of play, key players for West Ham to look out for, and we'll end with our score predictions. So if you're new around here, please subscribe to Gage Football for more football content like this, watch-alongs, vlogs, amongst other things. So, James, thanks for joining, pal. A huge game this Thursday, as I say, West Ham against Alkmaar. So, we're at the business stage of this Conference League competition this season. So, let's talk about the Dutch side, as I say, AZ Alkmaar, their form this season. They're going pretty well in the Dutch Eredivisie. They're fourth in the table at the moment, and they've got a slim chance of making the Champions League places, but this is on course for a Europa League spot. And in this competition, they're obviously going really well. Like West Ham, they topped their group, Group E with 15 points. They beat Lazio in the last 16 over 2 days, which is a huge result. Lazio were one of the favourites. And in the previous round of quarterfinals, they were 2-0 down after the first leg, 1-2-0 at home, and they eventually beat Anderlecht on penalties. What have you made of Alkmaar's season so far, mate?
Well, first and foremost, they're really, really reaping the benefits of their youth academy. You know, many years ago, they heavily invested in youth, and what is quite curious is they've managed to pluck a lot of players in and around the area of Amsterdam, which is under the nose of Ajax, where you would think that Ajax would be on top of things. AZ have managed to kind of nip things in the bud and get those young players, and hence why they're doing so well. AZ Alkmaar refers to Alkmaar and Zandstreek, which is Alkmaar and also Zandstreek is the surrounding area. Ipswich Town fans might remember them from the 1981 UEFA Cup final, and they're just a well-liked team in the Netherlands. You'll be very hard pushed, Bill, to find a Dutchman or someone who follows Dutch football that says, I don't like AZ. You know, they're very affable in terms of the club, the way they want to do their business. And they are having a good season. They've got a good manager in Pascal Jansen, who was coincidentally born in London and emigrated to the Netherlands at a young age with his, I believe, Dutch father. I think they were based in Sandam. And they've got some really good young players. I think 2 players to look out for who I really rate, and it's testament to the model that AZ have, is Sam Bokema, the centre half, and Sven Mijnans, who came from Sparta Rotterdam this January, and he's been a real revelation. His stamina is nothing short of incredible, and I just think with the team ethic they've got, they've really sprung a surprise. As I say, to knock out Lazio, it's not easy. And what they did with Anderlecht, and this is a great opportunity for them. And with the second leg at home in Alkmaar, I think they're going to fancy their chances. But obviously, West Ham in Europe this season have also been equally as good. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens on Thursday.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. So as I said, Alkmaar, they're fourth in the table, and obviously they're in the semis of this Conference League. I mean, before the season started, would they have taken that? Was that realistic, or are they below expectations, performing above what they expected?
Well, they always want to push on. You know, they've always been known for reaching cup finals and getting to the latter stages of domestic tournaments in particular. And there was talk of them maybe gunning for a league title in the very early stages of this season. But I think if you would have offered them a run to the Conference League semi-finals and to be in and around the top of the Eredivisie. I mean, of course, people notice now with the traditional top 3, which hasn't always been the case. You know, in all the years I've been here, which is 17 years tomorrow, would you believe? You know, sometimes we've had FC Twente. You see the Sparta Rotterdam have crept right up when they were in the relegation zone last season. And, you know, the Eredivisie has always been an acquired taste. It's never been the traditional top 3 all the way through, and I just think AZ want to kind of hang on to the coattails of the traditional top 3, but there's always a team that comes from nowhere, and they're kind of nestling themselves in the top 5. And I think if you ask AZ fans, I think they'd be very happy and very satisfied with how the season is going.
No, absolutely. So let's touch on Alkmaar and their style of play. I mean, from from what I've seen in the clips and some of the highlights of their Conference League games, and they seem to be very traditional sort of Dutch side, play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3, whatever you want to describe it. Play a lot of short passes. I was really impressed by a couple of their through balls that I've seen. This seems to be a side that likes to make those passes from midfield up front in a quick style. The equaliser to make it 2-2 on aggregate against Anderlecht was Reinders, the midfielder, to Odgaard with a really good through ball. This seems to be a side that would be dangerous on transition. Is that fair, James? Is that about how they play, or is there more to their play?
No, I think it's a good assessment. But obviously they are traditional 4-3-3. But of course, what they've done in Europe, particularly away from home, is also 4-2-3-1 as well. And especially with the away days they've had, and they pride themselves on being tactically flexible. Going counter attack if they need to. They've got pace in the side as well. And as I say, it's testament to their transfer policy. They've always been a club, Bill. They never panic. The club never appears to panic. I mean, in all my years here, you see Ajax in this particular season, they hit the panic button quite early. You see the splits. In the case of AZ, they've always managed to kind of just, not to get ideas above their station, not to worry if things don't go well. I mean, obviously, Feyenoord look as if they're going to be champion with Arne Slot, who also managed AZ previously. He was the assistant to Van der Brom as well, who was at AZ for 5 years. And it's just a club that are well run. It wasn't. I saw David Moyes say on his press conference about the moneyball aspect of that's not always been the case. And they invested in their youth setup many years ago, even with the training complex. Where even every changing room, that the youth, the under 13s, the under 14s, the under 15s, every changing room gets closer to the first team training pitch, to give those players like a mental pathway to, if you keep working hard and keep going through the groups and coming through the ranks, you too can make the first team. And I think they're really proving that.
That's a really good system. It's clearly obviously working for them. So let's touch on the key players that West Ham need to be aware of. Obviously, you mentioned a couple there earlier on. Just looking for the squad, there's not a huge amount of standout names, but a couple who stood out is the goalkeeper Matt Ryan, who was formerly of Brighton and had a short spell at your club, James, Arsenal. And the holding midfielder Jordi Classy, who had a spell at Southampton when Ronald Koeman was the Southampton manager. That's how long ago it was. But also, it reminded me a little bit, maybe not style of play, of course, but like Eintracht Frankfurt last season, which obviously West Ham played in the semis, where they seem to be a team where the whole is greater than the sum of their parts. They don't have, I wouldn't say, a huge amount of standout players, but obviously they're clearly well drilled, and obviously with young players, they're obviously full of energy, and there'll be everyone's a threat rather than maybe one or two individuals.
Well, it's always about the collective, like with many Dutch teams. In the case of Arsenal, it is very much about the collective. And you touched on the players there. Obviously, Matt Ryan adding great experience, but even the reserve goalkeeper Holby Verhulst, he's also had a good professional, fine career. He's a good goalkeeper, and he's keeping him on the bench. And I think for me, Sam Bokema is testament to the model that AZ had. He played for Go Ahead Eagles, and they signed him, and he's been really solid. So driven as well. And the same with Sven Mainans as well, doing so well at Sparta Rotterdam. It's always difficult to make that January transfer window move, but he's only 23 years old and he wants to grow, and he's in a great position. He really is. So I think those two players, even though they're not the most spoken about and not the most written about, I think those two players over these two legs will be completely key for AZ in terms of the stamina, the rhythm of the game as well. My man is full of confidence. And as for someone who's 23, and it just goes to show that it's still testament here that players can still come up the traditional way. There's no need to throw that overboard. Like in the case of Denzel Dumfries, who tonight is playing a Champions League semi-final for Inter Milan. He got promoted with Sparta Rotterdam. Had a good season back in the Eredivisie, went to Heerenveen, went on to PSV, and is now signed for Inter. It just goes to show that pathway, Bill, is still there. And it's a pathway that can help many, many good players. And it just goes to show if you can scout well, and because I was thinking this day and age, but I think massive clubs, they're far too concerned with losing talent than letting talent blossom. And I think that's a worry, certainly for the bigger, more seasoned European clubs. But if you can be clever, you can save your club an awful lot of money, and you can be very, very, very intelligent in the transfer market.
Yeah, definitely. No, I totally echo those words. I mean, just looking at the top scorers, both 24 years of age, 12 goals in all competitions for Greek player Pavlidis, I'm going to say. Yep. Pavlidis, and then the Danish winger Odgaard, who I mentioned earlier. How much of a threat are those two players going to be?
Well, I think in the case of Pavlidis, I think Ariel, he's very strong. Also played for Willemsvee in the past as well. And Odgaard as well, as you say, with his through balls and his eye for a pass as well. And I just think the collective. I wonder if stage fright will play a part. I'm not saying that AZ will kind of be like a rabbit in headlights, but there was obviously Feyenoord reached the Conference League final last year, but obviously Feyenoord being part of the traditional top three. And I just wonder with over the two legs, I think that West Ham may well have too much for AZ, but I think they'll give their all in London and be a really, really interesting game.
No, totally. Well, that's a good way to finish off. So, how do you see the first leg going in terms of how do you think AZ will play? And finally, what would your score prediction be?
I think they'll play in a responsible manner. I don't think they'll go too gun ho. I think they'll have the kind of feeling that we play the second leg at home, and at home they're well respected, got a great European record at home, and I think that they'll just be. I think there'll be a mature performance, and I think that my prediction is 1-1, and I think that the tie will be settled, whether that be extra time or penalties in the second leg in Alkmaar.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah, I think just with from West Ham point of view, I just hope that well, first of all, we don't lose this first leg. We did against Frankfurt in the Europa League last season. We lost 2-1 at home, and that made things more difficult, especially with Aaron Cresswell, our left back, getting sent off in the second leg last season. But I just hope that we're in the game. And the starts of our games for most of the season have been really poor, but the last sort of month or so we've really picked up our in terms of scoring first, and our best football has been in this competition. But AZ will be by far our toughest opposition. But we come into the game full of confidence, beat Man United 1-0 on Sunday, played our best performance of the season. We had a really good 2-2 draw against Arsenal, obviously your side, a few weeks prior. So we're starting to hit form at the right time, really. So it should be an exciting one. I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to go for West Ham 2-1. But as I say, as long as we're in the game going into the second leg, I think all West Ham fans will settle for that one. Great. Well, I look forward to. I'll be there at London Stadium, so hopefully it'll be another memorable European night for us. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, hopefully, obviously, we can go one better and actually get to the final this season. So, thanks for your time, James. That's been really insightful, and hope you enjoy the game this coming Thursday. So, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe to Games Football if you're new. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, your score predictions, etc. It'd be great to read those, and we'll see you soon. Take care.